Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. I am AmalgamAsh. My HeroQuest unboxing, overview, and comparison video recently went live and received an alarming amount of views in a short time, and I've been feeling very appreciative of all of the support, the comments, the feedback, all of the attention. I feel really great about the community that we are building, and I really look forward to the future. However, there was one particular critique that came up a few times. Harsh criticism surrounding one of the characters I was looking most forward to playing with and analyzing, the Warlock. I became fairly enamored with Shauna Nakasune's design for the new HeroQuest playable character when I saw the art last year during the crowdfund campaign, and something about seeing the figure in plastic on my desk seems much more authentic than the model image on my screen. But I have seen claims that the design is terrible, or too anime, or not HeroQuest. Now, the Warlock's design and the virtue of her very name seem to class her as maybe an anti-hero, or perhaps even a secondary villain who is just working with the heroes for profit in some way against Zargon. The back of her card reads, "You are the Warlock, a magical artillerist who has bonded with a sinister creature, allowing you to assume its winged form. Let your allies protect you while you deal damage from afar. Counts as a wizard hero in terms of which weapons, artifacts, and equipment they can use." But my darling Warlock, my Darlock, if you will, she's already received some harsh criticism regarding her design. So while all opinions are valid, after all, everybody is looking at the new HeroQuest under a microscope, trying to make sure that Hasbro has done it right, I would like to try and sway those who find her unlikable. Now, for those against the Warlock's appearance, I can't quite say that Shauna's art doesn't have some anime influence, certain pieces of it, but it's quite hard to distinguish it in a general sense from like contemporary Western comic styles instead. Some D&D races here. I don't know, I think this is pretty much consistent with what she was going for, and I don't think that it's anime, I just think it's contemporary fantasy. Although you should be well aware that most comic art styles were heavily influenced by the anime movement in the 90s, thank you Ghost in the Shell. Granted, this is not your dad's HeroQuest, just kidding. You're the dad, and or the mom, it is your HeroQuest. This isn't your Milton Bradley HeroQuest, and none of the characters are going to have that flair of the Citadel miniatures. They're just not going to have the same art style as, say, Les Edwards, and that's fine. This is what HeroQuest is now. This is the contemporary. Now that said, let's go ahead and look up 80s art of halflings. Okay, I don't think this is what I'm looking for. Ooh, this looks really good. That's a dwarf though. I mean, not that there's much of a difference depending on your taste and convention. Here we go. Halflings by Jeff D. This is a new drawing recreating my original from page 46 of Expert Dungeons & Dragons, TSR Hobbies, 1981. Now while this is a remake of the image by the artist, clearly there is a distinct cartoonish style about the halfling here. She looks pretty cool, actually. I dig the fuzzy feet. That's a pretty straightforward hobbit trait. They are really short. They could very well be gnomes. This is a picture called Elf Halfling Dwarf by Larry Elmore. I won't lie, if the art style looked like this on every single page, it would be oozing with that vintage fantasy charm that I personally love. Well, I like what I see well enough. I can say that if the original game did have a female halfling warlock, that she'd still be pretty awesome, especially if she were designed by Citadel, especially if her art was drawn by Les Edwards. But I will always trust Citadel over, say, Nolsger's minis. And while this figurine does have kind of a similarity, kind of a strong aesthetic similarity to the Nolsger's minis, I don't really like Nolsger's minis. I think Reaper is better, and I think this is just a step up above Nolsger's. Those of you who love Nolsger's minis, you're free to roast me. For those of you not sold on her abilities yet, I promise she's going to be a force to be reckoned with. Again, Dark Wings. Cast the spell on an enemy's turn. After you have suffered damage, the enemy walks up to you. The enemy attacks you, your Warlock. You get to cast this spell on their turn. What kind of a Chad move is this? Now, any damage that they have actually hit you for, say a gargoyle came up and rolled 3 skulls and you rolled no defense whatsoever, you cast this. You get no damage. Your Warlock sprouts the Dark Wings, and you get to move instantly to any unoccupied square you see. An excellent defensive move to keep your Warlock safe. Fear. This spell causes any one monster to become so fearful that their attacks are reduced to 1 combat die. Now it's your turn and you cast Fear on the gargoyle. It only has 1 combat die. The spell can be broken on a future turn. A future turn by rolling 1 red die for each mind point, and if a 6 is rolled, the spell is broken, so the gargoyle could very well just have 1 combat die for their attacks the remainder of the setting. And finally, Demon Form, the real MVP card here, the one that is the most valuable in my opinion. The Warlock ignores pit traps and may roll 1 extra combat die each time they attack when you use this spell, until the spell is broken. The spell is broken when the hero suffers 1 body point of damage. So you could very well coast through the entire scenario, if you are lucky, not suffering any damage, and rolling extra combat die each time you attack, as well as just flying straight over pit traps. If you get damaged, you lose the spell, but you regain the spell when you reduce a monster's body points to 0. So if you get hit and you murder the monster that hit you, you get to reduce their body points to 0. And if you are in demon form and you get hit, you can use Dark Wings as a counter to reduce the damage to 0, meaning you don't suffer a body point of damage. Please, be kind to my Darlock. I've already decided to name her Athena for my game. In the near future, we will be playtesting Athena, the first of many playtests involving the new heroes, so please look forward to it. Thank you for watching, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye for now.